Well, they are underway. We got Bob Jones High School Corey going up against Pelham High School Xavier, with Xavier rocking out on the Ravens, I believe, and of course Corey with those Bills.
It's a storybook type of setup almost. Bob Jones has such an incredible history in the state of Alabama. They are not only double-digit state champions in Rocket League, they have won multiple state championships over the years in almost every living title here on PlayVS. So Bob Jones does not come to mess around, and the player representing them, it's the Buffalo Bills, and it is Corey, and they have been disgusting this season, Orbital.
Yes, they have 100% win rate in there on the Bills, and of course on the other. Xavier doing pretty dang well on their own, only dropped one game throughout the entirety of all their series throughout the playoffs here. This will be a best of 3 only, and of course with that in mind, we got the teams rocking out here with the faves on board. You got the Bills versus the Ravens as we mentioned, but a little different playbooks in there as well.
Yeah, and the playbooks are always an interesting point when you talk about the high level of competitive Madden. On Corey's side, somebody who has never lost a game this season. Eagles offense, pretty standard for high-level play, and Texans defense. So a decent amount of 3-4 in there. A lot of really nice ways to get your edge rushers involved in the backfield. And so far having a lot of struggle with these RPOs that it seems that Xavier is already off to. And we haven't gotten to talk about Xavier yet, and so far they're doing great pushing the ball down the field, but that pass will be dropped.
Yeah, that's a nice little coverage there. And again, this moves very, very quickly as well, which is one of the fun things in my opinion. You're already gone for a little bit of a sneak here. I think you're on that difficult side of the field. 3rd and 4 options available. We'll see. It looks like they are going to try and push towards that left side with a little bit of a run straight up the middle. Yeah, you get over the line, so nice little coverage there. Very nice, especially the center.
3rd and 4, definitely a little far for a sneak, unless maybe you're the Eagles and you can push your way in. But a very smart play call to put Derrick Henry on the line and let him go to work. Easily the most powerful running back in the game. It is him and Saquon Barkley, and it is not even close. And you give him the rock for a reason. He carries the ball. He gets at least 5 yards every single time, and you don't have to rely on him. There's a lot of great receiving power on this Ravens roster as well. Not to mention, of course, led by the youngest MVP in NFL history, Lamar Jackson.
Well, you say that as Jackson goes ahead and takes a hit. Was looking for a long ball option there, but took a little bit too long in that break. So we'll see if they can do it again. Goes ahead, sets back up, immediate short pass to Andrews. Andrews is able to cross over. Another first down, well within range for just about anything you want to do.
Xavier keeping things short, keeping things in front. It's a very smart strategy from them. It's because these RPOs work so well, and it's Rashad Bateman on the left side of the end zone, and it will be the 2 seed striking first.
I mean, they're off to the races here. Offense first was very, very comfortable in that kickoff. Unfortunately, off on the edge. We were just talking him up and missing that extra point. That one hurts, but at the same time, great first score to start things off here in the first quarter.
I mean, it's the state finals. I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt. I've been there myself in a state final. Things are very nerve-wracking, and even I coach now, and I see how nerve-wracking it is for the players. So I understand a missed field goal here and there, but man, being the 2 seed, getting the ball first, scoring within the entire first quarter, running that clock all the way down, you need that 7th point. And now we're going to see Corey take the field and see what the Bills can do. It's a dangerous combo, Orbital. The Bills offense, which is very, very notorious for speed and versatility with the Eagles playbook. I'm intrigued to see what these players are going to be put to use, or how they're going to be put to use, I mean by that. And for somebody who represents the best school in Alabama and represents the best player in the state, I'm sure the possibilities are endless.
I would assume so. I mean, you're up here, you have a pretty much perfect record, you know how to adjust for players like this. I even wonder, I don't believe they played in the regular season, but if they did, I can only assume the two went at it like cats and dogs. So we're very, very excited once again getting it in here. We are going to have Corey's side of the offense here, and we'll see what they can do. Allen right there, ready to go in center, and they're going to pass it off to Cook, who only gets back to the line of scrimmage.
You don't see a lot of players bring the Eagles playbook out for single back tight there. An interesting formation call to start out, but there we go. I see bunch X nasty. This right here is the meta formation in Madden 24, or 25, I mean. This is where I think you're going to see a lot of high tight end utility up the middle, but the receivers are getting caught up to each other, and as I say that, there is the tight end. It's Dalton Kincaid, one of the many threats on the Bills' skill position line, but first quarter's already over, so a lot of clock ran off by Xavier, and that right there is how quick the Madden games will go. It's all about taking all the clock off, getting to halftime, scoring, and especially if Corey can go all the way down, chew the entire second quarter off, find a touchdown at the end there, and then proceed to get the ball back in the second half. It's a beautiful spot in what is a very long, dreadful series at times.
It can take a very long time, and you're sitting there, and we give props where props are due. Xavier, of course, as you called, really willing to burn down the clock, and I think that's what, as you mentioned a little bit, something to watch for. Now we go ahead, take a look going into that nickel formation, as you were wondering, but is it actually going to be fully used here? We are going to get right back into it. I believe there was just a little bit of a touch, wondering exactly where they're shifting, but Allen on the back, ready to go with that launch. Couple open receivers, and it looks like you're aiming quite a long period, and now you break open with Cook in the center. Dip and dodge and not able to scoot around, but gets a nasty amount of yards in there.
Patience is a virtue, and Corey, I mean, no stranger to that, obviously, being the 1 seed, using the Bills. You have way too much speed, and again, I already said versatility on this roster, not to mention how mobile Josh Allen can be. It's very mirror matchup-esque talking about this roster. And the Ravens roster, that's a very bold drag route to try and throw, but Keon Coleman will drop it. Also a bigger point, Xavier running 3-3. Me personally, not my go-to formation. I'm more of a nickel A gap or a 3-4 over type of guy, but I respect it. Putting a lot of players back into coverage, but still blitzing on the outside edges there, preventing the run, and so far defending the pass well, other than the one slip out from James Cook. But here comes Josh Allen. Will take a hit.
Oh!
That's a fumble. Oh, will be recovered. It's going to be Ty Simpson. He's got plenty of room down the sideline. Nobody's near. A major turnover, a major swing, and Xavier scores their second touchdown.
What was that saying about how you like to run? Not your favorite in the book. Apparently, it's a favorite of Xavier. They get a second chance at this field goal, and this time straight through the uprights. My gosh, what a way to get right back in the lead, even further now, 13-0.
You set up 3-3 for a reason. It's a very misleading pass or run blocking type of, or I shouldn't say blocking, I guess I should say rushing assignment. It's easy to disguise it. You only have 3 down linemen, and with 3 linebackers so close to those linemen, they can really be anywhere on the field. And so covering the edges, you know Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, both these quarterbacks will love to try and find some room to rush on the outside, and you pay the price. You can't take hits in this game, unfortunately, if you're a quarterback. Not to mention just how much Josh Allen's being overworked as we saw the stamina bar being used. Here comes another run attempt. Will not take a tackle this time, and 1 seed Corey learning lessons early, but this clock in the second quarter is ticking fast.
I like how you say learning lessons like they haven't learned in a majority share of their matches. I'm sure they knew kind of the risk of looking at that run. I'm wondering if they were just checking to see how much they could get away with as they dunked the ball outside, go ahead and just weren't finding those open stances. And already 3rd and 5, a little bit further back, and I'm not sure if they're really going to enjoy this one. We get right back onto that field, and eyes out, questioning exactly how Corey's going to come back into this.
Well, I might as well clarify now that you bring it up. LAN itself is the demon that there is to learn. Now, I'm sure that somebody like Corey has a lot of experience on LAN. This Bob Jones entire program has a lot of LAN experience, and that right there is a big throw. You would love to maybe find a score here before the 2-minute warning, but I don't believe that the Excel clock will allow for that to happen. We're waiting on. It looks like we will see the play call finally made, but as I mentioned, there's not enough time with the Excel clock. 2-minute warning here, 13-0 in favor of Xavier.
For Xavier, at this point, you're playing standard. As long as you don't turn it over, you're hoping for play for play, set for set. You're able to just kind of walk it down and keep this decent point lead difference. As long as you're able to keep it to 6, you're set pretty much. This is going to be a run by Cook trying to break through.
Whoa.
Able to leap, hasn't been taken down yet. Still on their feet for a little while longer. I believe that's almost like 22. I think I counted right there.
I mean, look, I'm a UGA student. James Cook is a UGA graduate. That is not something that he tends to do. So for James Cook powering through for about 12, 13 yards, that's a big moment there. Jet sweep now will go to Shakir, and that's a big hit stick, but the Roquan Smith play will not result in a major fumble after, we've already seen more than enough of those for a game, and still the whole second half as well. Almost a minute left already. You need a score here if you're Corey, but you do get the ball coming out of half.
Let's see what you can make here. I'll go ahead, passing off Cook once again, but well read by Xavier saying, yeah, we're not going to let this one. Another timeout being called here. This time by Xavier, just trying to keep that clock in favor. Says, all right, let's line it up right back here in the line position. Allen ready with a launch this time. Tried to run it last time and now taking their time. A lot of open space. Did you see the right call? Quick snap out. Coleman misses it just by a hair, and that's going to be 4th and 9.
Just barely misled, and the field goal will have to be made. Tyler Bass, one of the most powerful kickers in the game, right down the middle. Pressure will not get to Corey, but at the end of the day, that's a tough possession to give up. Now with a minute left and 1 timeout left to go, any extra points here to potentially offset that missed PAT could be huge for Xavier. It's only a best of 3 as well, so with a rough start and about 4-minute quarters, these games can snowball so quickly. Let's see if he can capitalize, or if they can capitalize.
I wonder if we're going to see Xavier just kind of launch it and see, but no, looking like another little run piece of the puzzle. If they can, also a sprint out if you wish to pass. There we go. Launch straight to the left side. That's Aguilar to pick it up. Comfortable pick in 1st down.
50 seconds left, but that Excel clock is dangerous. Already down to 25. It seems like the chew clock was actually the option over on Xavier's side, so maybe not in that big of a rush to find a score. This will be caught by Mark Andrews as well, and the timeout is called early, so I'm not sure if chew clock was enabled or not. I don't believe it was based off what we saw here watching Xavier's POV. But now with no timeout, you got to find a way into field goal range, and you have to try and get that spike down.
See if they do so. And instead, it looks like it's a hard burn on the right side. Just a little bit shy, or a little bit far, as you wish to call it. 2 more seconds burned off. 3rd and 4. Right back to the same play. No changes on either end. We're going to see that float once again. Xavier forcing Jackson back, but very nice rush in, and that will go ahead and be Corey saying, you don't get that long again.
You have Justin Tucker. This is a makeable field goal. I feel like you got to at least try it, but no, will not opt for that option. So intriguing call here, a very conservative, safe call, but I can respect it. There's a state title on the line. You were very fortunate to find an early fumble, especially here in high-level Madden. You don't tend to find that, so you'll take it. And we go into the second half after a very confident 13-3 half in favor of the upset seed Xavier.
For Xavier, I think the whole reason that you're hoping for that last, minute or 30 seconds or so is, of course, you are going to see this kick here, right? You're going to go ahead, launch it out, and it'll be in the hands of Corey. Corey going to let it fall back, start up a little bit further instead of having to try and drive their way through what could be a slew of the Ravens.
Knowing how these games tend to go, I think the operation is simple. Corey needs to score and probably needs to do so. A time to spare!
Oh, no!
Washington jumps the lane! Nobody near! Another full turn of events, and again in favor of Xavier. What in the world has he been cooking here in Game 1?
He hasn't been cooking in his own station. Apparently, he's been cooking in Corey's. Corey got red, not once, but twice now, and that looked like it was a very well-known option as well. Really, really well done by Xavier, and now Corey kind of forced to run it up here and see how far they can go. Stopped at about the 22-yard line, and man, does this hurt for Corey right now. A 17-point difference in Game 1 alone.
I can only imagine how hyped the auditorium is getting. I mean, this is exactly what you would hope for in terms of an upset first game. It's a very nice 20-3 with a lot of time left to go, and that is drilled to Keon Coleman. So finally, a nice major turn of events for Corey, but again, need to score even quicker than we were originally hoping. We'll see Amari Cooper make his way on the other side of the field. Josh Allen's X Factor is very much alive and well. It's Bazooka, though. It won't help too much unless he wants to go down the seam. Had a tight end. Has a player on the run. Nobody near. Keon Coleman! Back-to-back big plays, and the first touchdown goes in favor of Bob Jones.
It took a while, or maybe not as long as we thought. No time burnt, still 3:13 on the clock. You know what? Corey might have given 2 ints up early, but already well on their way to recovering here. Double digits both ends, 10-point difference. Kickoff straight down the line and straight into that end zone.
I talk heavily on the history of Bob Jones and their tenure in Alabama esports. Not just their tenure, but how dominant they have been. And a lot of that is at the hands of Coach Aubrey White, somebody who I got to meet not too long ago in the fall championships and is an incredible coach, somebody who is easily either the best or one of the best coaches in all of PlayVS across the nation. So for Coach Aubrey White, I can only imagine what the conversation is between her and their player. You just simply have to take it one game at a time, or one possession at a time, one run at a time. Try and stop Derrick Henry from getting too loose. I mean, we are one turnover away from this being a game again.
That's what we always like to say, and I'm sure that Xavier is on the other side there, saying the exact same and making sure, hey, we got to be a little bit careful. We got to be smart about how we play. Last time we were able to burn off the entire first quarter, and we're looking to do the same here, so you know, maybe they get that action in there just as well. Eyes out, though, as we're about, a minute and a half burned off. About halfway up that field. Another run as Henry being worked to the bone here. As you just push on through to another first.
This right here is why you choose a team like the Ravens or the Eagles. You get a strong running back that you can rely on. You can chew the entire game off of. This third quarter is about to disintegrate right in front of our eyes. Passing play does almost get lurked out. That's a dangerous call from Xavier to try and throw that slant. And Corey was about a split second away from taking that, maybe not to the house, but pretty far there with the momentum that would have been gained. Press coverage as well. Defense only has 3 down linemen, but you can see the superstar and the X Factor. It won't matter, though, with the setup. 10-point game going into the final quarter of the first game of the Madden State Championship.
And right now, I think if you're Xavier, you're saying, great, this is actually an okay position. I know that you said one good turnover, one good sprint coming out of Corey would be able to bring it back into a game. Xavier's trying to make sure that you're only stuck to 1 and that you're not going to have another chance. It's just that one and done type beat. So I like where Xavier currently is. Nice little blitz up the side, but you're kind of stuck and you actually were pushed up, I believe, fairly close, but had to drop back about 2 yards.
No huddle. I'm not sure why Xavier's trying to rush here. Maybe once this tight end goes deep, has a player overthrown. A dagger touchdown is denied by the inaccuracy of Lamar Jackson. Now a very bold call. Do you take the field goal? You have Justin Tucker, but no field goal call here. So with a 10-point lead, with 3 minutes left to go, no decision to take a field goal here. I would imagine maybe a fake snap of some kind. You don't need to run this, but yes, we will. A lot of players out over the middle. Interception! It will be Von Miller. Not a lot of speed on the old buck himself, but that's a huge pick right there. And Corey, 1 touchdown away, like I mentioned, from being right back in it.
You mentioned it, DJ. You said this is a dangerous call to make. And all of a sudden, at the top of the fourth, you have ample opportunity. Corey setting themselves up for the long ball haul, but flicks it out to the right side. Cook able to run it out just in time, and 1 shy of a first down.
I can't just skip over what we just witnessed. I cannot believe that was not a decision to kick a field goal there. You have a 10-point lead. You had 4 minutes left to go, and you don't take that. That's a bad throw, though. A misclick.
Oh, my gosh.
Go into the hands of Marlon Humphrey. That has to be a user error. There's no way that was meant to be a lob, and it's a freebie that goes right back into the hands of Xavier. So, once again, set up on the 49.
We haven't left this in the last about 2 minutes, man. We have not ended anywhere other than this line. It is going to be a run, but not much further. And all of a sudden, Xavier, I think, breathing a heavy sigh of relief at the opportunity that they have just been given. The earlier mistake of taking a chance at that run on fourth is, kind of voided right now. And not only that, you burned off another minute on the clock. You are getting so much value out of these turnovers, out of these interceptions. It is wild.
That is absurd to see what this second half has been. Just when we thought the first half couldn't get any wilder, it immediately flips around. And you know what? Let's just up it. And we still have an entire best of 3 left to go. 2 minutes left here. And all that Xavier has to do is simply nurse this one to full health. Third down will be an easy run for Derrick Henry. Truck goes through a little early, but it won't matter because it's Derrick Henry. Too easy, too free, and it's another first down, and there will be another 40 seconds off the clock here, under 90 seconds to go.
And all you got to say is, hey, make it a first down. Keep Henry moving. Yeah, as you called, every 5 yards or so, you're golden. You burn another. There we go, down to 51. Xavier absolutely ecstatic that they pretty much have this first game in the bank. Henry for the 3rd time on this run. And that's going to be a timeout called here. Finally, Corey saying, you're not going to get away with it that easily.
I mean, saves a timeout. We'll have an extra one if they can actually get the 4th down stop. Drag routes galore. Tight end over the middle. Easy possession catch. And that right there will most likely be the dagger. No timeouts called. 30 seconds on the clock. Chew clock will take it all the way down to just 5. And again, no timeouts. This is going to be conceded by Bob Jones, and it will be a win for Xavier. The 2 seed grabs a messy but confident game 1.
You know what, DJ, you were talking about the strength in the history of this Bob Jones high school squad, and if there is ever a team to rock a dynasty, it is the 2nd seed coming out here. That is the most poetic out of all the matches that we've seen so far here in the PlayVS championships across all titles. I feel like this one is the most standardized so far. 1st and 2nd seed rocking out here, and the 2nd seed really pushing Corey to the limits.
I mean, look, it's going to sound like I'm glazing, but I'm not. When you talk about Alabama esports, when you talk about program power rankings, and yes, I mean program power rankings, Bob Jones, what they've done for Atlanta high school esports for years and years, and what they've done for future college esports athletes, it is something that has to be studied. They have a true pipeline going on over there, and I give Coach White her credit, but confusing, very confusing game here from Corey and the Bills side of things. I can only attribute that to the stress of a state final. I mean, there's a picture that we got sent of the auditorium where everybody's at right now. So first of all, hello everybody, it's a pleasure to see you. There's a lot of noise going on. A lot of players right in front of you, right on the bottom side of the stage. Like, this is not an environment that is easy for just any old high schooler to push through, but that's why we're here on land for the state finals. You've got to rise through it. And now we're in a reverse sweep scenario for Bob Jones and Corey.
Course, and you have to kind of shore up those mistakes. I think for Corey, you're looking there and going, hey, okay, if this is how Xavier's going to play, a lot of burning out that clock, a lot of just slow runs all the way through, then I got to counter as much as possible. Maybe look at, and I wouldn't hate to see an attempt at stuffing down Henry as soon as possible. I understand Henry's strong. We all know that. Anyone that plays Madden knows that Henry's good. Find a way to snuff that. You are getting way too much value, not just from Henry running it up every 4 to 5 yards. The fact that you are eating through, 20 to 30 seconds every single time, and Corey's sitting there with maybe a minute left in a quarter, it's hurting a lot in there. As much as it's difficult to say, I think that's your play.
I'll throw another analytical point to the mix as well. We didn't see Derrick Henry come out until he was needed. So for Corey, there's a positive that you know that if you can win the passing game on both offense and defense, I think it is over. But at the end of the day, you can't give up 3 turnovers. That is just simply not a recipe for success. Not to mention that we're not playing on simulation Madden. It's on competitive Madden. And also, Excel clock was accidentally turned on. So the game 1 results will still stand, but those turnovers probably got magnified an extra 3, 4, 5 times because of how much clock can be drained without even having to intentionally chew clock. So for Xavier, that's about as beautiful as you could hope for. I don't know how much sleep you're getting before you travel to the state championships, but all that stress has to be off, at least for a little bit. Now all the pressure goes on Corey, who will get the ball first.
You know what? At the end of the day, I
Other way around.
still don't know if it's going to be enough. As you called, I think it really does come down to that user error coming out here. And not just user error, but unforced errors. All the same. We're going to go ahead and get that kickoff, as we saw, just as usual. But the idea that no matter what, you're sitting there in a slight set and you're saying, okay, a lot of those problems that came down were just, maybe I felt a bit rushed at the end. I want to call back to the time that we saw 2 turnovers pretty much back to back. I feel like Corey got a little bit antsy and those nerves kind of brought out on the stage. And it's something that you do have to manage. You have to sit there and go, okay, look, I know I'm in the hole, but there's always a chance for that game back. You cannot let the nerves eat at you. You can't be looking at that clock saying, oh crap, I'm going to lose. You need to be able to calm yourself, say, okay, what small steps do I need to make happen? Or else you are going to have those user errors like you called for. So very, very excited. Of course, starting out here, we are going to see first play of the game. My brain did not want to work right there for half a second as we get underway.
So I will clarify, Xavier gets the ball first for the second game in a row. So Corey, being the #1 seed, I guess does get the nod to kick the ball off. And last game didn't start too poorly. Defense was decent. It wasn't until Corey got their hands on the ball that things started to truly crumble. I mean, we're talking about Xavier who got away with a missed PAT, and normally that is something that is immediately jumped upon by an opposing high-level Madden player. So we'll have to see if maybe this time things will change, but with all the mistakes that both players made in Game 2, I'm expecting this one to be tighter. And now Xavier back to the true old strategy of the RPOs and just stalling clock away. Nelson Aguilar, not an extremely fast receiver, but gets the job done and is dependable, at least in game.
Well, that's the whole reason you're using it. Once again, I feel like Xavier has just been using reliable, not impact. All you need to do is continuously get some of those points down. And of course, we see another. This is almost mirrored from game #1, by the way. We saw a sack come out. Very nice job by Corey on that one, snuffing out a little bit of that earlier push and probably, I say probably, forcing a punt here.
Well, we have not seen a punt
yet.
yet.
There was the caveat in there. Oh my gosh, he does it again.
It's third down. It is third down, so no need to do anything just yet. You have Mark
I don't know
Andrews
why
in the
I thought it
middle
was
as
fourth.
well. And tight window for Zay Flowers, who will go down after a nice 20 yards. So no need for fourth down. No need to even think about that point. You're already knocking at the outside of the red zone. Mark Andrews up the seam. Could have been an option, but smart safety play. Bites down. Lamar is out. Had a blocker. Will not get the first down. Does tap his foot out of bounds just a little too early and does at least stop the clock. But if there's anything we've learned from game 1, Xavier's not trying to do that. Trying to take all the time off and this time get 7 to start the game.
Man, I'm sitting here just eating all my words and losing track because of how fast Xavier is trying to keep this moving. You're already up 1 game, and you want to keep this momentum moving in your favor as well. Quick pitch over to the left side. Bateman is able to make their way through underneath one of their own defenders as well as a set. So very nice job to get that first down.
I also do want to clarify for all of our lovely viewers on YouTube or Twitch, we don't have game sound, and we almost have a turnover to present to you, but Lamar Jackson is able to slide down. Run play is in order for Derrick Henry. Free block. Matt Milano will not push that gap, and that right there is the bread and the butter of the Baltimore Ravens. And Xavier once again strikes first. Once again, we hope will not miss the PAT, and no, Justin Tucker will slot that one in. It is a already better start on a, not a must-win for Xavier, but a huge game that you don't even want to go to 3. You don't even want to think about getting reverse swept. Just take it here and now. And a perfect start for Xavier and the Ravens.
You see it there and now. We really do look at Corey as, what are you going to do? Last time, I believe last time I think he started in the second quarter, which was a little bit of the rougher zone. We actually saw almost all 4 minutes get chewed out by Xavier. So this time around, about 1.5 minutes left to work with. So a little bit more time, and that's going to give Corey much needed room to kind of relax a bit, feel like you are going to be okay in the situation, and not give a turnover in your first set that you are running here. That was probably, I think, one of the most demoralizing pieces of this. Getting a turnover pretty much first set of runs, and it fell flat afterwards.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring up the time difference because we did already mention this, but for those of you joining us here in the middle of the series, hello, my name is DJ TJ. On the other side of the casting booth is Orbital. We're here with the Alabama High School Championships presented by PlayVS, and also thank you to AHSAA. It's been a long day, I apologize, but so far, we got a decent series cooking up thus far, as James Cook will carry this one across the line, and we do have game audio back. So thank you to our lovely production team. Now we're in full force for what could be an early end of the series.
You don't want to say that if you're a fan of the Bob Jones High School squad. You don't want this to end right now. You want this to roll all three. But at the current moment, Xavier, like you called, DJ, is just saying, no, it's going to be closed up here. We're going to try and shut you down so far, a little bit slow off the starting block. And remember, for Corey, I think you only had about, 3 turns out runs. You barely had any time at all. So you kind of understand that your first turn here in game 2 is highly important.
I mean, even if you do manage to turn the ball over, you just have to learn at some point. You already mentioned this between the games. You got to get over land at some point. And speaking of getting over it, big blitz incoming here from Xavier. There's going to be a lot of players over the middle, a lot of room for Shakir to get to work, but only a little bit of room left to be found. About a nice 15 yards. No huddle is in order. There's a lot of stamina and a lot of energy behind this Bills attack with the no huddle. Has a player deep. Does he see him? No, they don't. They don't see the player deep. So surprisingly there, had a tight end. I believe it was Kincaid, but in terms of Corey, they'll have to let that one go.
I mean, that hurts, and now you're winding down the last 30 seconds. It's not bad. Not the end of the world, of course, but as you called, sometimes you're just playing the safe angle, and you talked about it, for Corey, maybe not looking to that big expanse. Maybe you were a little bit PTSD moment from early. You don't want to give that turnover at the very far end. I know you said they were open, but man, any turnover can be buried deep into your brain. Any interception can really ruin it. Down to the last about 6 seconds here. Wind down the clock as much as possible, and then just aim for a straight shoot into that end zone. Or you're going to run it out, of course, and just let it hold.
2nd and 3, no need to force anything. It's a very long game, and now without Excel clock being on, which is correct by the PlayVS rules, now we actually get a longer game, a more tactical game. So no need to throw a rush on the offense there. And single back, once again, Corey will try to make this double single back work, but I'm still confused as to what the options are here. I mean, you have James Cook. You can try and get to the outside. How about instead a run inside? A surprising play call there, given how elusive James Cook can be. Not exactly a power back outside of the one glitchy run that we saw in game 1. And finally, Corey goes back to gun, pulling out bunch quads. It's going to be 3 receivers stacked up on that right side. A lonely one to the left, but a good coverage set up here. No easy plays given. It'll be a drag route. Keon Coleman drops it. 4th and 4 here. Big decision for Corey.
I mean, you're a little bit frustrated about that one, too. Now you're put in this 4th and 4 position as you were calling and just saying, dang, okay, yeah, we're going to go for it. Might as well, no worries on that end. Opposite side on the 39 and saying, okay, or 38, let's see what we can make happen. We are going to try and push Allen, falling back a little bit deep into that middle, and Kincaid yet again pulling through here. Great first down.
No animation over the middle there. That hurts a little bit if you're Xavier. You were, again, about a split second away from forcing a major turnover once again. But you can tell Corey is not nearly as aggressive as they were to start. Jet sweep, though, a play that is very easily readable, not only by the AI, but by the user as well. Xavier does a good job to cover off the side, and now we'll see what is the next play call here. 3 wide receivers, 1 in motion. It'll bring the cornerbacks down. Could be a play action over the top. Does have a post route. It's very well covered, though. Josh Allen's got nowhere to go. Will take a hit and will get a yard, but it's a pity yard at that. 3rd and 9.
This is starting to feel a little bit frustrating once again for Corey. I'm sure you're hoping to move, I think, a little bit faster. As you said, they are playing slower, not as quick to lose the timing, but this time around, you don't want to fall behind. You want to make sure that you keep pace. You know Xavier's also going to be getting that clock turned down as soon as they get the ball in their hands. So, going to try and space it out. Allen again dropping very far back. Snaps it over to Shakir. Shakir able to break through. Runs straight into their own teammate a little bit, but a good shove coming out from Xavier. Keeps it within onto the 17th.
Double crossing routes moving right. It's a hard combo to guard in Madden, and unfortunately you have to choose one or the other. And now run play is in order, 7 yards, and a timeout is actually called by Xavier. So with 3 minutes left to go, a little early on the timeout call, but maybe expecting Corey to be running off a majority of the clock. It is second down as well, so I hope that timeout is actually going to be put to use, but 2 receivers stacked up. No play action. Roquan Smith diving down, cutting off the ankles of James Cook. And another timeout here. So Xavier is not just looking to stall clock. They're looking to have a lot of time here on the back half of the second quarter. But knocking on the door of the goal, or of the goal line, is Corey.
Goal line, all the same when you get the points on the board in some people's eyes. Not everyone's, but some's. Allen going ahead, grabbing that snap, looking left, holding out a little bit of adjustment, and Cooper able to pick it up, grabs a few more yards, well within range of doing just about anything you so wish. Let's see if they can pull it off here, though. Corey really wants to make sure they get this a touchdown as fast as possible. Quick run in, though, and a call by Corey to go ahead and slip on in right by Xavier.
Xavier guesses the wrong gap and throws Roquan Smith from the middle of the field down the B gap, or maybe even the C gap. I didn't catch it, but it wasn't the A. I can tell you that much. So gets caught guessing wrong, and it is a walk-in touchdown for Corey. And now, what will they be able to cook up as we slowly approach halftime once again? We officially, for what I think we were hoping was going to be earlier in the day, we get a nice even game. A very deserving even game based on the skill level of both these players. So now, ball's back in the hands of Xavier. Only one timeout, though. So is the decision to chew this clock off and be okay with potentially not scoring any points? Or do you throw it deep and try to take a stab? 4 verticals out here early. That may be the play call exactly.
Yeah, you go ahead and see that sprint out of the side, and you swing it short, actually, to Henry. Of all things, we were looking long, and Xavier was looking extremely short there. Completes pass, puts themselves up a little bit further. Says, all right, let's do it again. 2 minutes on the clock.
2-minute warning rolls through. A very bold throw there from Corey. You're basically banking that the AI decides not to stay on that receiver, or else that's one of the freest auto picks of the entire game you can get. Now, it'll be the right bumper. Nelson Aguilar throws a little off, but the player's in the back of the end zone. Whatever you can do, I can do better, says Xavier. And it's another touchdown in less than about 20 seconds time.
I mean, already we are seeing a little bit of shift. There's that. All right, so we have expected this. I'm not going to lie. We kind of half expected this situation to come out. So it is a loss on that field goal. However, what a hard sprint in from the side of Xavier. Nasty play right there. Once again, ball kicked out. Going to go ahead, start things off comfortably a little bit further up the field.
Again, you can't let that happen. Not in a basically must-win game to get out of here comfortably with a state championship ring and medal and trophy on your neck there, but hopefully, once again, it won't bite Xavier, but for Corey, this is now what you're hoping for. You get possession, you get 2 minutes, you have 3 timeouts, you control the entire pace of this second half, and you will get the ball. So this is the scenario that they were playing for in the very first game. Now you just have to score! User lurk at the hands of Xavier. Roquan Smith down the right side. Josh Allen will not catch him, and a big swing and a miss for the side of Bob Jones, and another big game moment from Xavier.
DJ, what is going on here?
Come on.
At this point, Xavier, the only thing we can pick on are your P8s. Like, dude, hit the kicks.
I mean, look, if you can user lurk the #1 player in the state, you can miss a few PATs. If you can cover your own backside with those types of plays, then go for it. But man, what a tough moment for the only turnover of the game. And it's, again, at the hands of Corey. So now, with those 2 PATs being missed, you are still in a decent spot where you could score, get to 14, get the ball back, score again, and actually be up 2 because of the missed PATs. penalties. So you have to breathe, you have to see the situation in the scenario, and you can't get lurked by Roquan Smith once again. It'll be an awkward play for Xavier. It'll be a nice little stick skill from Dalton Kincaid, and of course the hands of Corey. That's a big gain with a minute to go.
All right, well, Corey, understanding that now you can worry a little bit. You're putting into a little bit of a rough spot. Better make it work. Allen once again falling back pretty dang far out to the right side, though. What a slam in. This time, no one in the vicinity to intercept. And it is going to be that touchdown that you so called for, DJ.
I mean, it's a great throw. Curtis Samuel, not the more popular Samuel in football, but still a very decent receiver at that. And that is what you exactly would hope for. It's what you'd wish for. Whether you're a fan of Bob Jones or Corey or the Bills, no matter who you're rooting for, that's a good result if you're one of the three. But at the other side of that, there's still a minute left and still a timeout, and also the leg of Justin Tucker at the hands of Xavier. So the field goal range is not 40, it's not 50, it's about 60. So in order to find some points here, which you would really like any points, because you need that field goal to try and cover the spread. Fumble! Ball down! It'll be kicked out! One-handed scoop! Number 39, Lewis will pick it up. It is absolute catastrophe from Lamar Jackson and a Ravens O-lineman. They pinched it out.
I can't believe that. DJ, what are we watching? We talked about the interception. Man, that was the craziest. No, now we get that knock and then the turnover. Oh, my Lord. This Grand Finals is delivering as it's a firing off to Samuel once again off that right side. Keeping it close within 2 for that first down. But in this second half alone, we have had some of the largest fluctuations in touchdowns and scores and in turnovers than we've had all game so far.
Well, I'm glad that here in my state of Georgia, I got to experience all of this on Saturday. I got a nice little pre-context of what the stress and what it can do. I mean, I competed in a PlayVS state championship myself a few years ago. I'm aware that the stress is unbearable at times, and both players are fighting tooth and nail to try and get through it, but that turnover was not just needed. I think it was something that needed to be a guarantee if you are going to reverse sweep Xavier. And so now with 20 seconds to go, I'm surprised why the timeout call was so late. Maybe a little bit of poor clock management, but at the 6-yard line, it makes sense. It seems like that Corey believes they are one play away from punching it in and doesn't want to give Xavier a singular chance. Let's see what the play call is.
I mean, there's only so much that you can think of right now, right? I believe that was actually that was Ravens side call. Saying, okay, let's go ahead and use that one. A little bit of an inside here. Trying to pinch in for the mix. Coco grabs it. Swings a little bit right. Finds the gap and is in.
Dream scenario for Corey. You get the touchdown early before halftime, and the ball will still come back into your hands as long as you can survive the next 18 seconds. And those 2 missed PATs, I mean, 3 in total now. The first one wasn't a big deal in game 1, but now 2 in the same game. I mean, lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place, Orbital, and it looks like that Xavier's going to learn that the hard way unless there is a field goal in store here in the last 18 seconds.
I mean, it's wild to say that we're only in the second quarter right now. Like, that is crazy to me right now. We are in such a weird spot where I'm sitting here going, hey, I'm looking at Xavier. I'm like, Xavier can score here. Theoretically, Xavier can throw down with the best of them. That's going to be a long ball pass straight to the middle. Aguilar is going to pick it up, and you still got 10 seconds to work. Let's see if you can. You're going to try and run it.
It's already too late. You should have had to call something immediately, but now... Wait, no, they will get the play off. Need to try and spike this quick here. 2 clock wasn't on. I don't think either player was aware of that. It looks like instead of a field goal, it'll be one last heave, looking, throwing, triple coverage, interception at the hands of Elam. And now is there a touch? Back out of the end zone. It will not be much, but that's a brutal moment right there. You have Justin Tucker, you have the best leg, arguably one of the best legs in NFL history, and you don't put it to use again. So bold call for Xavier, and now they'll have to try and do it all over again with the ball heading into the hands of Corey.
This is Corey breathing a heavy sigh of relief if I've ever heard one. You were down, what was it? I think a good 12. at one point. In the second half, second quarter alone, by the way, second quarter alone, you were down 12, and you have somehow made an expansive run up to. You are saying this is a great position to be in. And let's see what Corey decides to do. Looking like a little bit of a chance mix, setting up for a little bit of long haul. Yeah, coverage in the backside a bit, but I mean, Corey just like, hey, let's go ahead and sling it. Let's see what we get.
Setting up shop at the 23-yard line. It'll be a lot of crossing routes. Throw will go out of bounds. A smart decision from Corey to kick it off. But with the lead, with 5-minute quarters, and now with the actual rule, which is no Excel clock, you should probably be running the ball here. You should probably be putting it in the hands of James Cook and letting him stall the clock out. You had a tight end over the middle, decides to wait and go for the other tight end. So some slight mind games there. Caught Xavier doubling back for another receiver and throws it at the most perfect moment. Amari Cooper now will try and push on the right side of the field to get solo coverage, and that's exactly what they will get. Is double covered, now is by themselves, comeback route. Amari was open. Keon Coleman, jump ball, will go through the hands of everybody, and that's a big first down stop on the side of Xavier, but still such a long game to go.
that was terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see a Raven hop on up, I'm like, it's gonna happen again, DJ. It's gonna happen again. I am wholly terrified. His right side in the mix. You're gonna go ahead and drop him down. 7 yards gained right there, and you know it's in a comfortable spot once again for Corey. You're saying, hey, for the first time in this series, I have the lead.
Do you run this ball? Do you not? Do you bank on the blitz? Do you not? A lot of receivers out. Zig route is open, and Shakir once again, one of the more elite slot receivers in terms of their utility in game. Again, a dependable figure with a decent amount of speed, and that's all it takes to be a good receiver in Madden. And so far, Corey, a player who, no surprise, no shocker, is fully aware of that. Again, on a 100% win rate on the Bills, and didn't drop a singular game with this team until, well, hey, look at the scoreboard, last game. So Corey finally getting to show some of that expertise under pressure. But again, we are still just barely encroaching into the third quarter here, and an early second down once again, but we're also on the 36-yard line already. So you got to be sweating a little bit if you're Xavier, and you would love to find another somewhat decent turnover like you got so many last game.
Lean to the right side and a run straight up the middle. Now Allen being able to juke out, slides in for the first down. Well played and well timed. Didn't really see anyone open, so I love that call. And Xavier kind of kicking themselves that, hey, we played a little bit too far back here. Now coming up, 21 to go. Let's see what you can make of this. Dropping back once again, sprint out to the left, finds Kincaid yet again. Good stop, but still 8-yard gain.
Welcome to the red zone. And Corey, after getting that late touchdown in the first half, is now in a spot to go up 2 possessions. And all they have to do is just find the 6 in the back of the end zone. I believe that's pass interference. That is called. Free play. It is a pick by Ty Simpson, and eventually will be tagged. No, actually will get loose. Does have Shakir on the tail, who will be able to bring him down. I believe that's going to be called back as well. Yes, it's illegal contact. So it will still be in the hands of Corey. So got the free play, tried to use it to find a touchdown. It's worth the risk, and you're at the 7 with the penalty. So a slight moment of hype, maybe for all the fans of Xavier, but it's only short-lived. Corey is still knocking out the door.
That's a bittersweet moment right there, right? You're like, dang, I really made that mistake. So rough one to run into, but more action to be held as once again we're here, 2nd and goal. Plenty of time, as you called, Corey, knock it on the door, and at this turn, pulling it down, but that is going to be a sack coming in, rolled right on in. Xavier maybe a little bit pissed that their interception got called back.
You got to play your options here if you're Corey. You have Tyler Bass, somebody who can also make 60-yard field goals in this game, and you're from the 16. Don't throw a pick here. You don't need to force it. You have the lead. You will just sit in the pocket all day. Roquan Smith coming in. You can't take a sack. 26-yard line. It's still a very makeable field goal, but it's not going to be easy. We'll have to see. We cannot see the meter that Corey has to deal with, so all we can do is hope and pray that the kick is exactly as they would hope. It is down the middle and powerful enough to have no doubt. So a big stop from Xavier, who is now only down 5 with 2 missed PATs. So a big moment in this game.
And I have to say, for Corey, that is another mental barrier. You had everything leaning in your favor right there. Pass interference within 7. You were right on the line there. And you got shoved back so far that you only are allowed 3. And now you're wondering if you can pull off that same defensive stop that Xavier had. Xavier has been so good in these turns, and now breaking out Henry once again, just utilizing that slow pace upfield. Most likely we're going to see pushed into the 4th quarter at this point.
Yeah, I would imagine that the goal here, based off what we've seen from Xavier, you're going to try and stall this clock out through the 3rd quarter and then take your sweet time as you enter into the 4th. But the clock will stop as Lamar Jackson gets a big Russian gain here, and it looks like read option is starting to show up in the playbook. I'm not sure if that is the play call. It is not. Very dangerous play, so it makes sense for Xavier not to make a rush call there, but now, how much clock will they chew? Not too much. Has a lot of options, a lot of crossing routes. Is looking at X on the side. Looking at B now. Up for the rush. Fumble is coming through at the hands of veteran Von Miller, but smart positioning from Xavier. That ball almost is guaranteed to go out of bounds when you position Lamar right there. So a slight moment, but no real concern. And now another deep passing look is completely bottled up, but Lamar Jackson, so dangerous, gets away, gets off a defender, and this entire drive is sponsored by Lamar Jackson. Run after run after run. Corey, you need an answer soon.
I'm not going to lie, it's also not Xavier forcing it. Keep in mind, they're waiting the time almost extensively, and they just find it. That's why to go up, bobbling. I think they grabbed it. They did. Within the goal line, 5 to go. Xavier burning through the last 50, but my gosh. A wild end of the 3rd quarter.
Wow. High point ball there from Xavier, and it is beautifully placed. You hold that receiver button a split second longer, it's probably an interception. That ball's probably too short or too long, but that right there is the elite level of play, and now the bread and butter of Xavier from game 1 in the 1st quarter here will come back out. It will be an RPO. It will not go out to the side, and Derrick Henry will make a defender kiss the ground, and thank God they're on earth. Another run play is in order, knocking at the 1 to take the lead. Diving, fighting, down once again. It is inches making the difference right now.
I like that we're actually thinking of trying something else right here when we know that you're probably going to go right back to Henry and just be like, yeah, that's our game plan. But honestly, that's 2 good stops. Let's see if they can do it again. Right now, lined up, a little bit of formation. Eyes out, though, on the wings. Nah, it's going to go ahead and just rush on forward. And
oh, no.
You still didn't make it.
Didn't get it.
Oh, my Lord. You tried with Jackson. Even Jackson couldn't make it.
Oh, big call here. You have 3 timeouts. You have 4 minutes. Do you risk it? I mean, I like this idea, and you need to hike this ball quick. There's a lot of real estate on the left side. Quick audible to inside zone. Is there going to be an offside?
Oh, what a collapse!
I believe so. A player gets knocked down. Rasul Douglas was offside. It will stand as a touchdown, and now you have to go for 2. So a big moment for Xavier, but you are not out of the woods just yet. A massive 2-point conversion. Do you run it here on the goal line? Do you potentially look for a drag route? It looks like Mark Andrews will be the one to come over the middle here. Derrick Henry out to the side. A lot of options. Lamar's got a defender on him running.
He's dodging
Tyler Rapp, and Lamar Jackson being the MVP that you all know and love at the hands of another potential MVP. It's Xavier, and you can trust in him.
He made up. He made up for all of those missed PATs. He made up for it, DJ. He said, listen, I heard you making fun. I ain't going to kick it one more time, but I'm still going to get the points. Up 3. This is still a very tight game, and with 4 minutes left, it's still a lot to work with. This is Corey saying, hey, it's okay. It's not bad, but it's not great. I still have a chance. Great pass into Shakir in the middle. You're still getting yards up the field. 4, 2nd and 6 right now.
No matter how this game goes, you are going to look at that 3rd quarter. You're going to look at Corey's goal line drive, which was cut short with a field goal, and you're going to wonder, did that make the difference in being a state champion or going to game 3? Time will tell, and so far, Corey is right back in the driver's seat in the most critical spot we've seen either one of these players in the entire series. Reverse sweep watch is only a mere touchdown and a stop away, and with 3 minutes to go, we're going to see a decent amount of clock most likely shed off as well. Again, you have Tyler Bass. You only need about 15, 20 yards to be in comfortable long-range field goal territory, but you got to be careful. Can't throw a pick. You can't fumble with Josh Allen, and you'll take a yard, but at what cost? A big third down here at the hands of Corey.
All of a sudden, Xavier, looking even hungrier, says, I smell that turnover in the waters. Whether it's by punt or by pick, I will do it here. Corey, wanting exactly how this is going to be played out, sets back deep, waiting for someone to get open, sees nobody, is about to get sacked, still up on their feet, though. They're going to launch it, go straight to the middle. It's picked up! It's picked up, and you get a first down as well. What a play by Corey.
Are you kidding me? If you're watching this live and you are not making noise, you better now. Looking down the face of death, throwing into triple coverage. It's a dot and a first. A big play from the #1 seed in the entire state of Alabama. James Cook getting loose, getting frisky for 9 yards. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left to go, and there are some heroics in the controller of Corey.
I'm stunned still from what I just saw. I'm stunned. We should be seeing a kickoff. We should be seeing a punt right now or something from Corey, but Corey has absolutely showed resilience here and is now over the line for that first down. We are getting within 30. This is well within threat territory range, and Xavier saw the light, lost it, and is now hunting once again in the darkness for that frame of mind. Yes, you still have another chance. You saw the third game, but you don't want it to go to. You battled so hard. 27-24 right now.
Again, you are in field goal range. So the priority list is pretty linear here, Orbital. It is 1, don't throw a pick. Number 2, don't fumble. Number 3, for the love of God, don't turn it over. It is as simple as that. Do not let this ball get into the hands of Xavier. You can take your time. You can take a field goal, but you have to keep in mind that Xavier does have 2 timeouts. So you do need to get some clock traded off, but you also want to be comfortable. Again, we're on the competitive setting in Madden. Kicking field goals is simply not easy, regardless of how good the kicker may be, and so the passing game is in order. Keon Coleman stumbling, bumbling for about 10 yards, and will be 1 yard away from the first. And a timeout, again, is called by Xavier. So, I'm not sure. I guess Xavier's worried that a touchdown could be scored, is trying to make sure they do have time, regardless of the outcome, or maybe they're banking on an all-out blitz, and that's exactly the play call, and it will work! Ooh. What a play call! What a stand! What a moment for Xavier, who is potentially 1 stop away from being 1 step closer to winning the Alabama State Championship.
And you know what that means. You know what that means, DJ. I am 100% believing Corey knows that you can't just go for the field goal. You can't. You got to go all out. It's do or die time.
Way.
This is the moment. You have been forced into a corner because of that game 1, and you're going to try and make a miracle happen once again.
Press coverage, setting the scene for a critical moment here in the 2025 Spring Championships. What is in the hands? What's in the mind of Corey Robinson? Looking middle, Roquan Smith is all over it. Deep throw, Keon Coleman drops it! He drops it! Knocking at the goal line, right at the door, but it's slammed shut. 68 seconds left in this game. 3 timeouts in the hands of Corey. You need a stop or else the state championship is on its way to Xavier and Pelham High School.
And you know what it is. You know what time it is. DJ, you know what time it is. It is time for Henry to burn the last minute of that clock. It feels painful. But because of the early game, because of how Xavier was able to get away, it's good. Aguilar gets over the line as well. Last minute left. Corey is watching their championship dreams drift away.
Have to get a stop here. It will be full house single back being the play call as See, fullback rotate out behind Isaiah Likely. Derrick Henry falling forward. 6 yards left. No timeout is going to be called just yet. I think Corey has officially succumbed to the pressure. I don't think they're going to try and call a timeout, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So Xavier, the 2 seed, comes through the bracket, upsets with the Ravens, and it's going to be them and Lamar Jackson at the top for Pelham High School. Your state champion, Xavier Merchant.